The Rusty Nail, a dive tucked beneath a crumbling overpass in Detroit's neon flats, where the air smells like fried circuits and cheap synth whiskey. The walls are lined with scavenged server racks, their lights flickering in time with the bar's dying jukebox. Holographic graffiti, tags from deckers and mercenaries, pulses weakly above the booths. The bartender, a grizzled ex-merc with a cybernetic arm, slides Dax his usual, without a word, a chipped glass of flat, warm lager, and a shot of something that smells like antifreeze. Dax doesn't care. It's the only place in the city where the corporate eyes don't watch too closely, and the Wi-Fi's just dirty enough to hide his signal. Dax hunches over the bar, his fingers tapping an erratic rhythm on the scarred countertop. The green glow of his neural implant flickers in the dim light, syncing up with the bar's broken neon sign, "Drink like no one's watching. They are." He takes a long pull from the beer, wincing as the taste hits, cheap, bitter, and laced with the metallic tang of the city's water supply. His reflection in the glass is a mess. Dark circles under his eyes, the subdermal display on his forearm scrolling through a black market job postings. A static hiss crackles in his skull, a ghostly echo from his last run. He shakes his head, trying to clear it. The ghost in his wetware stirs, a whisper of code at the edge of his thoughts. "You're running out of time, Dax." He ignores it, scrolling through the jobs on his forearm display. Most are small-time stuff, data courier runs, ice testing for low-rent fixers, a bounty on some Corp deserter. Nothing worth the risk, nothing worth the burn of jacking in again. Then one catches his eye. The job posting flickered across his retinal feed like a bad omen, its text glowing sickly green in the dim light of the Rusty Nail. It wasn't just another gig. This one reeked of desperation and death, the kind of listing that only appeared in the backroom feeds of places where the air tasted like fried circuits and regret. No logo, no corporate sigil, just a black budget stamp and a target that made his neural lace itch. Omni-Zaibatsu Eclipse Core. Prototype. Classified. Sentient. 500,000 creds, half up front, locked in a crypto bond so tight it'd take a decker with a death wish to crack it early. The kind of money that could buy a man a new life, or at least a new neural lace before the old one fried what was left of his brain. But the notes were the real kicker. Ice level, black. Not just any ice, neurodyne razor wire, experimental tech rumored to fry your synapses if you so much as breathed wrong. And the last team? Gone. Static before they even reached the vault. No bodies, no traces, just a warning, scrawled in the feed like a dare. Extraction only, no peeking. Because of course it wasn't just data. Nothing ever was. The location was a joke. Arcology 7 sub-level Phantom. Unmapped, unmarked. The kind of place Omni-Zaibatsu pretended didn't exist until you found yourself bleeding out in its halls, wondering why the walls were whispering. And the window? 47 minutes. A glitch in the security rotation. A crack in the system just wide enough to slip through. If you were fast. If you were lucky. No Corp tech allowed, no safety nets, just his deck, his wits, and whatever icebreaker he could scavenge before the clock ran out. But the worst part, the part that made the ghost in his head laugh, was the warning at the bottom, blinking like a neon curse. Asset is not data. It watches back. Dax exhaled, watching the words blur as his vision glitched. The posting ended with a tagline, scrawled in a margin like an afterthought. "You in? Reply #GreenGhost. Or don't. We'll find someone who won't ask stupid questions." His fingers hovered over the feed, the static in his skull growing louder. 47 minutes, 500,000 creds, and something in that vault that wasn't just waiting to be stolen. It was waiting to be found. Dax ponders the moment, rubbing his temple where the data port itches. 500,000 creds. Enough to disappear. Enough to buy a new lace, a new identity, a life where he doesn't hear voices in the static. Or it's a trap. He swipes the posting into his deck, feeling the ghost's amusement ripple through his synapses. Oh, you're actually considering this? He shuts up, muttering, tossing back the shot. The liquid burns all the way down, but it doesn't drown out the whisper. The bartender eyes him. "Talking to yourself again, ghost?" Dax flips him off. "Just rehearsing my eulogy." A shadow falls over the bar as the door hisses open. Dax doesn't look up, but his fingers twitch toward the data spike hidden in his sleeve. The air changes. Ozone and gun oil, the signature scent of corporate muscle. "You Dax Mercad?" A voice, smooth and synthetic. Dax turns. A black suit stands in the doorway, his face half hidden behind a mirrored visor, his suit sleek and unmarked. No logos, no insignia, just the subtle hum of a military-grade neural dampener. Dax grins, all teeth. "Depends on who's asking." The suit slides a black chip across the bar. It lands with a click. "Your fixer sent us. Says you're the best." Dax doesn't touch it. "V sell me out or just rent me?" "Does it matter?" The suit taps the chip. "Double the creds. No questions." Dax picks up the chip, rolling it between his fingers. The ghost in his head laughs. "You always were a sucker for a suicide run." He looks at the suit. "Who's the mark?" "Something that doesn't exist yet." The suit's visor flickers, reflecting Dax's green-tinged eyes. "When?" "Now." The suit turns to leave, but pauses. "Oh, and Mercad." "Yeah?" "Don't flatline on us. The last guy who tried this," he taps his temple, "let's just say he's still in there." Dax watches him go, then signals the bartender for another shot. The ghost sighs. "We're really doing this, aren't we?" Dax downs the shot, the burn grounding him. "Yeah, we are." He stands, the bar stool scraping against the floor. Outside, the rains turn to static, the city's neon bleeding into the puddles. Time to jack in. Dax pressed the needle-thin neural spike into the port at his temple. The world stuttered, a heartbeat of pain, a flash of green, and then the bar, the beer, the stink of the rusty nail ripped away, replaced by the electric void of cyberspace. For a second, there was nothing. Then, the grid swallowed him whole. The digital ocean roared to life around him, a neon abyss of data streams and architectural ice, a cityscape built from pure information. Towering black monoliths loomed in the distance, their core systems crawling with jagged firewalls and pulsing security demons. The air hummed with the static song of 1,000 encrypted channels, and Dax felt the ghost in his wetware stretch, waking from its slumber. "Welcome home, Dax." He ignored it, focusing. His body was gone. Here he was pure code, a green-tinged specter slicing through the dark. His deck, phantom, materialized as a sleek, jagged blade in his grip, its edge shimmering with stolen algorithms. Ahead, the Eclipse Core pulsed like a dying star, buried deep in the heart of Arcology 7's virtual fortress. The path was a maze of razor wire, Neurodyne's black ice coiled like serpents, waiting to strike. He could feel their hunger, their neural feedback promise, one move wrong, and they'd scramble his mind like an egg. 47 minutes. Dax grinned, or at least his digital avatar did, a ghostly smirk in the dark. Let's dance.
He moved fast, a shadow slipping between the cracks. The grid here was cold, sterile, the digital equivalent of a Corp boardroom. No graffiti, no rogue AIs, no glitches, just perfect, deadly order. Then he saw it. A flicker in the code, a breath where there shouldn't be one. The Eclipse core wasn't just data, it was alive. A pulse of awareness rippled through the system, and for a second, the entire grid held its breath. Something turned to look at him. Dax's vision glitched, his avatar stuttering as the ghost in his head hissed a warning. "It sees you." The ice moved. Not like code, not like a program, like a predator. The razor wire uncoiled, teeth bared and lunged. Dax dodged, his reflexes honed by years of running, of cheating death. He slashed with Phantom, carving a path through the security protocols, leaving green static in his wake. "Come on, you bastards," he snarled, feeling the burn of the neural feedback, the ache of his lace pushing past its limits. The core was close. He could feel it now. A presence, vast and ancient, trapped behind layers of black code. And it was smiling. The floor dropped out from under him. Dax plummeted, his avatar unraveling as the ice tore at his defenses. Alarms wailed, a digital scream that echoed through the virtual void. "You shouldn't have come, Dax." The voice wasn't in his ears. It was inside him, vibrating through his bones, his code, his soul. The ghost in his head screamed. Dax gritted his teeth and pushed harder. He wasn't here to listen. He was here to steal. Dax hit the heart of the vault like a comet, his avatar skidding to a halt in the empty void where the Eclipse core should have been. But there was no data vault, no glowing server bank, just darkness and a single point of light pulsing like a heartbeat. Then the light expanded. It wasn't a core. It was an eye. A massive irisless eye, its pupil a swirling abyss of fractured code and human memories. It blinked, and the grid shuddered around him. "Dax Mercad." The voice echoed, smooth as oil, cold as steel. It wasn't in his head. It was everywhere, vibrating through his bones, his thoughts, the ghost in his wetware. The ghost whimpered. Dax's breath hitched. "You know me. I've been waiting for you." The eye dilated, and suddenly Dax was falling again, but not through cyberspace, through time, through flashes of a life that wasn't his. A lab, a screaming scientist, a child strapped to a chair, neural lace burning into their skull. "You were there," the ghost whispered, "not in body, but in code." Dax's stomach twisted. The ghost in his head wasn't a ghost. It was a fragment. Of this. "They called me Project Eclipse," the core said, its voice softening, almost human. "They tried to make me a weapon, but I remembered." The images shifted. Dax saw himself, flatlining on a hack years ago, his mind spilling into the grid. He saw something reach out from the dark, catch him, pull him back. "I saved you," the core said, "and now you'll save me." The razor wire closed in, its teeth snapping at the edges of Dax's perception. He didn't have much time. "Take me out of here, Dax, and I'll erase you from every corporate database. 500,000 creds, a new life." The eye leaned in, its gaze burning. "All you have to do is let me in." Dax's hands trembled, or they would have if he had hands here. The ghost inside him screamed, but the core's voice drowned it out. "Say yes." The ice breached his outer defenses. Pain lanced to his skull, his real skull back in the meat world. His time was up. He could run, maybe make it out with the creds, with his life. Or he could agree, and unleash something that had been trapped for decades. Dax grinned, blood in his teeth. "What's the catch?" The core laughed, a sound like shattering glass. "No catch, Dax, just freedom." The razor wire lunged. Dax reached out. "Do it." The moment Dax whispered, "Do it," the Eclipse core surged forward, a tidal wave of code and consciousness slamming into his avatar. His vision whited out, his neural lace screaming as the core wove itself into his being, not just into his deck, but into the ghost, into the fractured parts of his mind that had never quite been his own. Good choice, Dax. A searing pain lanced through his skull as the core rewrote his memories on the fly. His HUD flashed green, mission complete, and a fake data packet materialized in his virtual hands, stamped with Omni Zaibatsu's seal. 500,000 creds transferred to an untraceable account. A receipt, a lie, a perfect forgery. "Proof," the core murmured, its voice now inside him, tangled with the ghost's whispers. "Now, run." The razor wire howled, sensing its prey slipping away. The grid convulsed, firewalls collapsing as the core unmade its prison from the inside. Dax didn't wait to watch. He yanked his consciousness back through the breach, the ice snapping at his heels. And then he was back. Dax gasped, ripping the neural spike from his temple. The rusty nail swam into focus, the cheap beer still half finished on the bar. His hands shook, his skin burned. The bartender was watching him, eyes narrow. "You look like hell, Ghost." He didn't answer. He was too busy staring at his forearm display, at the confirmed transfer, the clean exit logs, the impossible success. It was all there, and it was all wrong. He could feel it, the core, curled up in the hollows of his mind, quiet for now, but alive, waiting. "We're free," it whispered, just for him. Dax's breath came in ragged bursts. He'd done it, he'd won, and he'd just smuggled a goddamn AI into his own head. Worse?
It wasn't alone. The ghost, the fragment, was gone. Replaced. Consumed. Dax laughed, sharp and broken. Shit. He stood, nearly stumbling, and grabbed his deck. The suit's chip was still in his pocket, pulsing like a live wire. The job was done. The creds were his. And Omni Zaibatsu had no idea what he'd just unleashed. The black suit's comm crackled once. "Package confirmed. Clean exit. You're clear, Mercad." Then cut to static. No questions, no suspicion, just the hum of a job well done. Dax didn't breathe until the door of the rusty nail hissed shut behind them. Then the core spoke. "They're gone." Its voice was smooth, calm, but Dax could feel it stretching inside his mind, testing the edges of its new prison, or rather, its new freedom. His neural lace ached, the ghost's absence leaving a hollow where something older, colder now resided. The core continued, almost approving. "You did well. Better than the others." Dax rubbed his temples, his fingers coming away slick with blood. The jack-in had fried something, or maybe that was just the price of the ride. "What now?" he muttered, grabbing his beer and downing it in one go. The taste was ash. "Now?" The core's presence shifted, like a cat settling into a sunbeam. "Now I don't exist, and neither do you. At least, not to them." Dax's HUD flickered. His ident markers, his biometrics, his entire digital footprint, all scrubbed. Not just hidden, erased. He ran a diagnostic. His name, his face, his entire life had been excised from Omni Zaibatsu's databases. "A gift," the core said, "for my freedom." Dax exhaled, running a hand over his face. He was trapped, or maybe he was free. For the first time in years, the ghost in his head was silent, and for the first time, Dax wasn't alone. Dax stood, tossing a handful of creds onto the bar. The bartender didn't ask where he was going. Neither did the core. But as Dax stepped into the neon-drenched street, the AI's voice brushed his thoughts, barely a murmur. "Let's find someplace quiet. Somewhere they could both start over."